Welcome back to the One Decision Away podcast. I'm your host, Elijah Mang. In this one, we are going to get into some of my best stuff that I have to offer when it comes to releasing your emotions, the emotions, the stuck energy in your body that's holding you back, the energy that is at the cause of your self-sabotage, your procrastination, perfectionism, insecurities, monkey mind. If you've experienced that feeling of just being all over the place, or like something I've experienced personally is like I'm leaving the house and sometimes I have a pattern of being late to things, showing up late because I get out of the house late, and I'll be like in my head trying to make sure that I have all the boxes checked, everything that I need, and it's just like over the top. It's a little excessive, and I'm worrying about like I can't forget something or blah blah blah, just all over the place, and it's just this natural pattern that comes up sometimes. And one time I was noticing that, and I was getting very frustrated at how I was behaving in that way and how I was getting so caught up in my mind. And so I decided to investigate it and go deeper. And through some very deep investigation and critical thinking, I developed this whole philosophy and understanding of these things that show up in our lives, the self-sabotage, the ways that we get in our own way, and also of what's underneath that and how to identify what's underneath that so that you can actually get to the core and release it. Because until you do that, you're not going to be free of these things. You can try literally anything that's out there, and if it doesn't lead you back to the core, it's not going to provide you with true freedom from whatever that is that you're experiencing. So whether it's drugs or medication, drugs, those kind of things, they provide like a band-aid to the symptoms that you're experiencing, but they're not going to solve what's at the core. And so this is all about solving what's actually at the core, because the truth is you were born for well-being. You were born to be to live in a neutral state that is not terrible, that is not debilitating, that is not depressing, that is not ridden with anxiety and suffering. And so that's what we're trying to get you back to. That's what I've been trying to get back to a lot of this journey. And, thankfully, I've found a path that has helped me to actually get to that point where I feel great about myself, about my life. I love it. I love life. I love the experience of all of it. And doing this will help you to develop a better relationship with even the negative emotions, the things that you don't want to experience. So with all that said, get to the core, and this is how we're going to do it. So I'm going to share with you the understanding and this philosophy, and then we're going to get into a couple ways that you can really release it. And I'm going to give you a little spoiler here because it's really fucking simple. You just have to feel your feelings. You just have to feel your feelings. But often we intellectualize our feelings and we get in our head about our feelings. And so then we don't actually feel them. We think we're feeling them, but really we're thinking our feelings. That doesn't make sense. We're thinking thoughts about our feelings. And this kind of goes back to the point where you don't actually have a relationship with like money, for example. You don't have a relationship with other people. You don't have a relationship with anything really. You have a relationship with your thoughts about that thing. And so you get so into the intellectualizing into your head, and then you think about all these emotions that you're feeling, but really in thinking about the emotions, you're resisting feeling the emotions. And so it creates this never-ending loop. You're just perpetuating those emotions and resisting the emotions by thinking about them and thinking of all these different stories, like why me, or why does it have to be this way, victimhood, things like that. And in doing all of that, you're just holding on to the emotions even more. You're not actually releasing them. So you need to actually release them, and the key is feeling them. So just listen in, and we're gonna get into the good stuff here. But yeah, I think it's fun. Little side note, I think it's funny doing these episodes on the road, because I'm in a different place almost every single one. Today we have cat trees and pink. And so it's great. We're staying in California in Redondo Beach, and it's super nice here. We're gonna be here for all of this month, and we can just walk outside and walk a few minutes down to the beach, and it's such a lively area. Like there's so many people out just walking down the beach, hanging out at the beach, and it's super cool. I like it here. It's my first time actually spending a good amount of time in California, but anyway, that's not the point of this episode. But this is my podcast, so yeah, I'm going to talk about myself and whatever comes to mind. And I think that's funny. Another little side tangent here. I think it's funny that sometimes when we create things, we get so caught up in thinking that it needs to be a certain way. Like I want to provide value. I want to provide valuable content for you that can help you to change your life and actually make a difference. Not just like, oh, that's a cool idea, or that's a cool thing, but actually like doing something about it, providing you with value in a way where you can actually create change from that value. And so obviously that's up to you. I'm not in control of that, but as much as I want to do that, sometimes the desire and feeling like I need to just provide value takes away from me feeling the freedom to just share whatever the fuck I want to share, which is kind of the point of this podcast, is me just sharing what I want to share and just sharing it in a raw, unfiltered way that I don't feel like I need to show up as anybody else other than myself. I don't need to try and present everything in this perfect way. I don't need to make a million edits just to make a video that will constantly be hooking your attention just to get more views and more exposure. I think that will come as long as the value of the content is there, and as long as I continue to do this. But I'm not super worried about that anyway. This is my platform to share value and express myself, and so that's what I'm doing. And it's super fun. I enjoy it. Because I hate the reason I came to YouTube and started doing this is that I hate the microwave social media platforms. It's with all the short form content and everything where it's just capturing your attention, and that's what it's all about, is just keeping you hooked. It's terrible. I mean, it's terrible for your concentration, your focus, your thinking, all of it. And speaking of that, I want to do another episode on focus and attention and creative thinking and thinking for yourself, because there's so many things every single day that are just grabbing for your attention. And even just going on Instagram for 1 minute, you can get completely sidetracked. If you're working on something, if you're trying to focus, if you're trying to think creatively in a specific direction, you go on Instagram, you watch a couple of reels, or you see a couple things, and then all of a sudden your mind is just completely thrown off track, and it's really hard to get back and focus. So I'm going to do an episode on that. Obviously this one is about the emotional stuff, so let's get into that. Let's get into the content here. This is what it is. I call this the beast in the cage in the basement. And the reason that this came up was because in my last episode, I was talking about natural confidence versus manufactured confidence, and how natural confidence comes from deep within you. It comes from acceptance of yourself at the deepest levels. It comes from the trust and knowing that you're not in this world just alone, and in a way where you just need to fend for your life and survive. And understanding the deeper spiritual nature of life itself and of yourself as a spiritual being living this temporary human experience. Because it's easy to get caught up in the thinking on the surface level of flesh, these meat suits that we're in, thinking I'm just a human, I'm nothing else. The material world, it's easy to get caught up in all of that because that's what our senses show us. I can only see materials. I can't see the fact that this little table and the microphone are just tiny little atoms that all are just taking a specific form and creating what this is. I don't see that. And so it's really easy to get caught up in the whole materialistic point of view and the material world, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But if you don't know your spiritual nature, you will get caught up in manufactured confidence, in seeking manufactured confidence, because deep down you feel insecure and you don't feel like you're enough, and you feel like you need to prove your worth. You feel like you need to justify your existence. And so this ties into the natural confidence, because this is how you're going to develop the natural confidence. You have to go deep. You have to go into the basement where this beast lives and understand what's going on here so that you can free the beast. And this may make no sense right now, but let's get into it. So the beast in the cage in the basement is what I like to call this. Now, you may have heard of something similar referred to as like your shadow, which was kind of coined by Carl Jung. I love Carl Jung. I love his stuff. And I kind of realized that, okay, this is very similar after I had already mapped all of this out. And I have a little PDF. Like I'm looking at it right now. And I'll put it up here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I have a PDF that shows what is going on, like what it all means, the beast in the cage in the basement. And it also shares, some resources that will help you to release what's going on holding you back. So if you want this PDF, drop a comment and you can just say yes please, or PDF, or beast in the cage in the basement, whatever you want. Just drop a comment, I'll see it and I'll get it to you. But it's the part of ourselves that we have come to hide. It's the part of ourselves that we have hidden away, and that we don't accept, that we view is unacceptable. And often it's a very it's the primitive, like the primal self, like those primal desires that you have that you don't feel like you can actually express or share or pursue because they're not acceptable in today's world, in society, or they're just very uncomfortable. And this goes for those primal desires, but also the feelings that are very human. They're very human, but we shove them down because they don't appear to be perfect on the surface, or they're very uncomfortable, or we don't want to admit these things about ourselves, or all of these thoughts that we have about ourselves that are extremely harsh and negative and judgmental and condemning and depressing. We just shove them down, and we don't want them to be seen by other people. We don't want other people to even know that we think those kind of things, not realizing that they're thinking the exact same things, maybe in a different form. They show up a little differently, whatever. But I mean, we're all dealing with the same shit here. That's the truth of it. And so what's at the core is the shame around being human, around sex, around money, around relationships, around who we are as a person. Maybe we have a very unhealthy, judgmental, negative self-image, and we see ourselves in a very negative way, which can absolutely be changed. It can absolutely be healed, because that is not the truth of the matter. That's just where you're looking from. And what you're looking at, like what you think, what you see, how you see yourself, you see it all through this filter of these emotions that are buried within you. The beast in the cage in the basement. It creates a filter over everything that you see in your life, every single little thing that you see in your life, all the ways that you act and behave in relationships. Like maybe a lot of insecurities come up for you, and it's like get back down there. Or they come up and then it creates problems in your relationship, and then all of a sudden it just builds on top of itself, and then you no longer have a relationship, type of thing. Or it just gets really bad, and you don't have a place of security within yourself where you can leave something, even though it's unhealthy, and still be okay. It seems like death. It seems like the end of the world if you were to leave that situation. I hope all this is making sense so far. But like in this chart here, at the core we have the shame, fear, negative self-image, guilt, and below all of this is the unconscious wounds that have just been left. They haven't been healed. They haven't been addressed fully. The repressed emotions, the emotions that I'll give you an example. Growing up, I observed a lot of what I would call overly expressed anger. And so I saw that as embarrassing, especially in public. Like when that stuff would come up in public, or just overly expressed emotions in general, overly expressed, according to my point of view at the time, because they were uncomfortable. It would be embarrassing, or it would seem like unacceptable to me. It would seem like you're out of control. You're like a child, and I was actually the child, but judging like, damn, like that. It is childish behavior, and just looking at it in a way where it's like, yeah, I don't ever want to look like that. And so I looked at the anger and those overly expressed emotions, and I shoved them down every time they would come up for me, because that was not acceptable. That was not okay to be shared. And so along with this goes the negative perceptions of yourself. The negative perceptions of yourself that you would not share with other people. Like, maybe I'm a terrible person, or I'm a terrible friend, I'm a terrible boyfriend, I'm a terrible husband, I'm a terrible whatever it may be. All of those negative perceptions that kind of linger underneath, and like you may or may not consciously agree with them or believe them, but unconsciously they are very much there. They're very much taking up space, and they are blocking your energy. There's something under there. And so the thing with the thoughts and emotions relationship here is the negative perceptions of yourself are so often stemming from the negative emotions that you've accumulated and held within yourself over time. And so that's what builds up and creates this beast in the cage in the basement. And the reason I call it the beast in the cage in the basement is because it's this beast, it's this ugly thing, it's everything that's unacceptable, not good enough, not worthy, not lovable, not worthy of being shared, not worthy of being seen by anybody. And so we lock it up in the basement, in its cage, so that nobody sees it. But here's the thing. Every time that you have people over to your house, every time you have a little get together, you have a dinner, whatever, even if it's just your friend, just a friend, or just a partner, like you're, in your relationship, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, doesn't matter. Even if it's just them, like everybody who's there at the house, they can kind of like sense that there's something, maybe every once in a while they hear a little noise, or they feel something, shaking. It's this beast down in the basement, and you're maybe not even aware of it. You probably don't even know that it's happening, but it's being emitted in your aura, in your energy field, in your actions, your behavior. Maybe you can't really make eye contact and hold eye contact. There's something that you're hiding down there. You feel uncomfortable just holding eye contact and just being in that space. There's something that is lurking beneath the surface. And so every time people come over, they can kind of sense that there's something going on. They may not be able to put their finger on it, but they can sense that there's something going on. And depending on how aware and pure this person is themselves, aware of their own stuff and able to differentiate their energy from your energy, or like energies that they're picking up on outside of themselves, or energies that are coming up from within themselves, like if they're aware of those things, then they may be able to identify, like, yo, you got some shit you got some shit in the basement, bro, that you need to address. And so that's what it is. And this is kind of the negative end right here. The chart that I put up is like the negative end of things. And so at the core, there's all this shame and guilt and fear and this negative self-image. And beyond that, it creates this uncertainty that you're walking through your daily life with. You're uncertain about yourself. You're uncertain about your life. You're just this filter of uncertainty in everything that you see and touch and do. And there's this worry, like you worry like how everything that you say is coming across to other people, how other people are viewing you, how they're judging you. You worry how your actions are, and it's normal to like worry about how your actions are affecting things outside of you, but you excessively worry about how your actions are affecting things outside of you. And it's not normal to worry about that, but to think about it and be intentional about it is good. That's great. But not worrying about it, not stressing yourself out about it. Just being intentional, being deliberate. And then there's the fear, there's the doubt, there's the guardedness. Like you're not living in a state of love and trust. You're living in a state of guardedness. Like every stranger that you walk by on the street, like you have this thought in the back of your mind of fear, of like not feeling safe. Or that's just an example, that probably relates with a lot of people, but just all kinds of things like that. You doubt yourself. You feel guarded. This is probably one of the best examples I can give you of the guardedness. Is like you feel guardedness in relationships. Like if you're just starting to talk to someone and starting to open up with them, like you feel very guarded about being actually vulnerable and authentic and genuine and actually sharing what's true. And that's another one of the things that's like at the core of this beast in the cage in the basement, is feeling unsafe and feeling like what's true is not safe or good enough or acceptable, and feeling like you're a bad person if you express whatever it is lurking beneath there within you, just depressed, just pushed down, repressed, whatever you want to call it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, if you can release that shit, if you can release the fear, the shame, the guilt, and realize it's not actually helping you anyway and it's completely unnecessary to live holding on to it, it's not unnecessary as an experience in life, but to hold on to it and continue to just carry that with you, you're carrying so much emotional baggage with you, and you're living like a fraction of your potential. In like, as an example, just in the area of your personal happiness, you're probably suffering if you're holding on to that stuff, and you don't actually genuinely feel like this deep love for life and happiness. So that shit's gotta go. And when you release these things, you'll come to realize what is actually natural within you, which is acceptance, love, everything in this chart right here, worthiness, forgiveness, patience. And because I want to demonstrate like the levels of this chart. So the acceptance, the love, and the worthiness, when you feel those things and have those things within yourself, in your heart, in your body, in your mind, your intentions and everything, what emanates from that, from having that love at the core, is trust for other people. You see other people for who and what they actually are, not for this filter of fear that you're placing onto everybody around you. So you can trust people. And maybe you have that filter of fear because of past experiences and relationships where you've been betrayed. You actually had a reason to not trust them. But by holding on to that, you're only doing yourself a disservice. And when you have that at the core, you can have compassion. This is why the understanding part is so essential. And like in my recent 2 episodes, or I don't know which one it was, but like, you're innocent and everybody else is innocent too. If that sounds crazy to you, go listen to the forgiveness episode 2 episodes ago. Because when you understand that, you can actually have compassion, and compassion is fucking powerful, and it's enjoyable, it's fun, it feels good. You want to feel compassion. And people feel good when you can actually genuinely feel compassion towards them as well, and towards yourself. The most essential part is towards yourself. And then you have patience. You can feel patient and just like you're okay with just being in the moment. You can sit here, do nothing, distract yourself mindlessly scrolling on your phone, any of that, and just feel good. Just feel good. You can experience forgiveness for yourself, like I was just talking about. Compassion, forgiveness, they kind of go hand in hand. You can experience that for yourself and others. It's freeing as fuck. And beyond that, when you have all this, your energy system is operating right. You feel good. You're in a kind of a flow. It's the natural flow of your natural state of well-being. You experience on the surface clarity, focus, flow in whatever you're doing. You know, confidence. You have this natural confidence. It's not manufactured. It's not having to be reinforced by how you look, by how your hair looks. Like, you can go out and not really care about that too much because you're okay with yourself. And, you know, obviously you want to present yourself well. I think that's important, and I value that as well. But I don't feel the need to prove anything. I don't have anything to prove because I know the truth. And that's the natural confidence. You don't have anything to prove. What is there to prove? There's nothing to prove. You only feel the need to prove something when there's a void, a lack within you somewhere. And that's exactly what we're addressing here. And you can experience high performance. You can experience genuine happiness and so much more. So this is the whole beast in the cage in the basement. I love it. I think it's an excellent demonstration of all that stuff that's getting pushed down and repressed and that we're holding on to and everything. And so let's get into how to actually let go of it. Like I already mentioned earlier, you really just need to feel your feelings. I'm not going to act like I have some super secret method that's going to change your life, although it will. But it's not like some super secret method. But this is what I've pulled together and how I've come to understand this method specifically, which is like if you have a lot of deep shit and you may not even be conscious of what's going on there, doesn't matter. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to be conscious of it. You just need to feel it. Like you just need to feel the sensation in your body, your full body, whatever it is, whatever needs to come up, whatever needs to be processed and released. And so this I call the 4-step process of letting go. The 4-step process of letting go, I've actually shared it in an episode before, how to stop letting your emotions get in your way or something like that, something along those lines. But I'm going to share this little diagram chart thing, whatever you want to call it. And it's just 4 steps. The first one is becoming aware of the chaotic thoughts. Becoming aware of the chaotic thoughts that you're experiencing, that you're thinking. Because, just to give you a little context, in this process, I'm specifically acknowledging that you're in a space where you're feeling the discomfort of whatever emotions you're still holding on to, but you're getting caught up in intellectualizing things, or you're thinking excessively on a specific thing. And I'll give you an example. One time last year, I bring this up because it was such a profound experience, and it's a very specific example that I can give to you because I recall everything that was happening. I went through this whole process myself, and it was insane. It was insane. And so I really hope that you can actually have like a full body experience of this practice because it's life-changing and it's so freeing. It'll free you, literally just free you from all the shit that you're holding on to. So I was hanging out and I was getting very in my head about some content that I was creating, and I started to get insecure about it. I started to worry about it. I started to just have this pattern of perfectionism coming up, and I was getting very in my head. I was judging myself. I was like, none of this shit is good. This is terrible, and just getting extremely stressed about it. And so what I did is, number one, I became aware that I was having all these chaotic thoughts, and I was like, wait a second, this is like yesterday I was feeling good about everything that I'm doing here. Even just a little bit ago, I was feeling good about this. What's going on here? I realized the pattern that was taking place. So you need to have this like little break into awareness to actually even go about making this process happen. And then you identify the emotion underneath those thoughts, those chaotic thoughts. Because here's the thing, you can have thousands of negative, very judgmental, just negative thoughts that come from one single emotion that you're holding on to. And so if you're trying to address all the thoughts at that level, you're wasting your time and your energy, and you're not going to actually accomplish anything other than a better intellectual understanding, which can be helpful. But in this case, we want to release. We want to feel and release and process. So you need to identify not the thoughts, but the emotion underneath the thoughts. What is the emotion that you're feeling, that you're resisting feeling underneath the thoughts? Because back to the point I brought up earlier, thinking about it is often a form of just resisting the actual feeling in your body, the sensation of the feeling, the emotion in your body. Okay? And then step 3, this is so simple. Let go of your resistance to feeling the emotion. And so this consists of the recognition of what you're feeling, and then just surrendering to it, realizing like, oh, okay, I know what's going on consciously. I'm thinking all these thoughts because underneath I'm feeling this feeling. And then it becomes, in my experience, it becomes very easy to just let go of the resistance to feeling the emotion. So, back to my story. I was noticing all those thoughts, and then I realized, damn, all of this stuff is coming up because I was actually journaling. I realized, like, I got to do this. I got to do the 4-step process of letting go right now. And so I opened my journal and I started writing. And then I realized, oh, I'm just feeling fear. And this is literally what I wrote, what I was saying to myself, what I wrote. Okay, so what do I do with this fear? I just feel it. So I was like, oh, okay, simple enough. I closed my notebook, put it on the bed, laid down, just laid on my back, hands over my heart, and this is step 4. Feel into your heart space and feel into that energy and just feel the feeling. Just feel the feeling. You just have to feel the feeling. Feel the sensation, the feeling in your body, not your thoughts about the feeling. They might try to creep back in, but once you've like gone through this process and just surrendered to it and just been, oh, okay, consciously come to accept, I'm just going to let go of everything that's going on up here, this jumbled mess, whatever, and just feel the feeling, just focus on that sensation, then it becomes really easy. So you just do that, and you do it for as long as it needs to be done. You feel it until it's done being felt. That is the key. You feel your emotions until they are done being felt. Okay? You have to actually feel them and let them move through you in the way that that energy is going to move through you in order to release it. Because otherwise it's just staying within you. It needs to do what it's going to do. It needs to be felt and processed so that it can leave your body and you're free. That's how it works. So in my experience, I was laying there, just let go, and it started to get more intense. I started to feel this very fast beating in my heart and this very strong energy. It's very uncomfortable, and oh wow, I'm getting like goosebumps right now talking about it. It's very uncomfortable, this very strong energy just filling my heart, and it got more and more and more intense over probably 60 to 90 seconds or so, maybe 2 minutes. And all of a sudden it started to just dissipate, just dissolve. And then my entire body, and for context, my entire body started feeling like light. And if you meditate, visualize much, maybe you've done some guided meditations where the instructor guides you to visualize light entering your body through your head and filling your whole body. There's light filling your whole body. That happened instantly to me, naturally. I did not visualize anything. It just, as soon as that space where that fear was taking up in my body was released, it just filled with light and love. And it, like, I literally felt my whole body buzzing, vibrating, like that feeling when you get into deep meditation and you feel like the light, you feel the energy, the lightness, the vibration in your whole body. I felt it in my whole body all the way down to my toes. And I felt so fucking good. And here's the thing. when you release all the emotional baggage you're holding on to, that is your natural state. That state of, it might not be that like ecstatic joy and bliss, but it's just going to be calm. It's going to be peaceful. It's going to be like a place that you want to live. You don't want to live in that state of suffering, but a place that's calm and peaceful. Like, yeah, I want, like, if you think about a house, for example, like, you don't want to live in a house that just has shit everywhere and it's super unorganized, and you know, like, you can just feel that energy. It just doesn't feel good. You want to live in a place that's calm, clean, and that kind of relates to, you let go of all those thoughts, all that junk that's everywhere, and just allow yourself to feel it. It brings order into your life. And you know, if you live in a state where your external life is very unorganized, you have shit all over the place, it's probably that you need to do some of this stuff. You need to release some of this stuff, and also address some beliefs that you have about yourself, about your life, about your organization, and that kind of thing. So that is like one of the most powerful processes, the 4-step process of letting go. Become aware of the chaotic thoughts, identify the emotion underneath them, let go of the resistance to feeling that emotion, and just feel into your heart space, into your body, wherever the energy is, and just allow it to be felt until it's done being felt. That's the key. And that I'm just gonna leave you with that one, because I want you to go apply this. Regardless of what the method is, like I told you, I'm not giving you some super crazy, like mind-blowing secret to the universe, although it is. It's just very simple. And however you go about it, it really just comes back to this 4-step process. Getting out of your head, getting into your body, and allowing all of that stuff to be felt. So, I hope this is helpful. I'm going to stop because we're getting a little bit long here. And I just really hope that you apply this. I hope that it changes your life. Or just improves just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's a success in my book. You know, just that this episode, listening to it, brings you some awareness, brings you some joy. And this is my intention with every single episode. I want it to be worth your time. I want it to be something that actually help. Like, there's so many things that we do. There's so many things that we consume on a regular basis, on a daily basis, scrolling on social media, the TV, that it's just not contributing anything positive to your life. So I hope that my podcast can be that for you and help you to go deeper than you've gone before. That's the intention of everything that I do, my coaching, my podcast, all of it. I want to help you go deeper, like especially working with my one-on-one clients. I want to go as deep as we possibly fucking can, because in a one-on-one environment that allows for it, and it's like that's what you need to do to give yourself a life of freedom, and you know, like, take away the desire to even numb yourself or distract your mind with all this mindless entertainment and things like that, because you are now in a comfortable, safe, happy, joyful, calm, peaceful place to live, and you can live in that state and live that life that you want to live, creating whatever it is that you want to create. If you want to make a big impact, do it. If you don't really care, you just want to live a peaceful, calm life, do it. It's amazing. Anyway, with that said, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening, especially if you stayed until the end. I appreciate you. And you're only one decision away. You're only one decision away from just doing this stuff, just freeing yourself from all that emotional baggage you're carrying and holding on to. Because the secret with the whole beast in the cage in the basement is looking at that beast, understanding what's actually going on, and being able to look at that beast with eyes of love and acceptance, just pure love, and realizing that that beast is actually not as ugly as you made it out to seem. It is you. It's the part of you that you've rejected. It's the humanness, the human nature within yourself that you may have rejected or hidden, felt the need to hide. Like the shame and guilt is no joke. I've experienced a lot of shame and guilt in my life, and you need to love it. You need to look at this beast, let it out of the cage, give it a big ol' hug, give it love, give yourself some fucking love, please. If you do one thing today, if you forget everything I talked about in this episode, give yourself some love. And by doing this practice, you're giving yourself so much, so much. So give that to yourself, give yourself some love, and love the beast so that you can free the beast. And maybe next time you have a get together at your house, the beast can come up and join you guys, because the beast is not something to be hidden. It's something to be loved. And maybe it won't even look like a beast then. I don't know. I'm just going on about it. But anyway, I hope that helps give you a little extra perspective on this. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with somebody who you think will get value from it. Share it with that friend that you talk about personal development stuff with, because I'm sure they'll enjoy it. And yeah, you're one decision away. Peace. See you next time.